thing I would like for you to do is you're going to look at me through the whole interview and say your name, your rank, and where you were born.
Okay. My name's Jim Ritter. I'm a police officer with the city of Seattle, and I was born here in Seattle.
All right, so you lived your whole life here?
I have.
Never moved or lived anywhere else?
I moved over to Eastern Washington for 4 years to go to college, but aside from that, I'm basically an East Side kid.
Interesting. So, throughout this process, we've had a lot of transplants or people but to actually get someone that's spent their whole time here and as a police officer. So, what year did you become a police officer?
I was hired at age 18 as a deputy sheriff over in Eastern Washington for a department which had about 12 deputies and a sheriff.
Okay, and what made you want to be a cop?
I wanted to be a police officer since I was probably about 14 years old. I was a police cadet from 14 to 18 over in Bellevue, and I think in reference to some of my concerns about furthering my profession, I was scared that I might not be able to be a police officer because at the time they were still giving polygraphs for employment screening, which would ask the question if you were gay or not, and that would oftentimes preclude you from getting the job. The courts changed that in the mid-70s, but even when I got hired with Seattle, I was fairly sure they weren't asking the question anymore, but wasn't totally sure until I got on the polygraph and went through it.
And, so you knew that you were gay, but you said that earlier you weren't out. Why join then?
Well, because I had a passion for this job. I think it was important. I think that as a kid, you're listening to the sirens at night and wondering where these police cars are going. I, was pretty idealistic, like a lot of kids are, with police officers and firefighters and wanting to do an exciting job and to help the community. So I think it was just kind of a natural course for me.
Okay. And when you signed up, you went through the academy, is it?
I went through the academy with the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So when I was hired by Seattle in '83, I was what they call a lateral transfer. I was hired the first step police officer pay instead of being a recruit. And so I had 3 years at the sheriff's office. And I initially applied for King County Police, and Seattle contacted me first. I had some concerns about Seattle at the time. I knew several Seattle police officers, but I also knew that even as a kid, when the grand jury convened 10 years earlier, that there were some issues as far as some corruption issues and some racketeering and some other behavior issues that I was concerned that I didn't want to be witnessing. I ultimately accepted the job with Seattle and made it known that I wasn't down with being around any of that.